This is Off the Ice, the Nanaimo Clippers hockey show on 106.9 The Wolf. With the latest news on the Clippers and the BCHL, here's Dan Marshall.
It is Off the Ice, the Clippers hockey show, first day of February, first show of February, and not quite the last month of our season of Off the Ice because we have the playoff preview show coming up on March the 1st. But we're getting close to the end. So are the Clippers. Game 51 yesterday. They played more games than anybody else in the BC Hockey League and the second most points in the league. Rankings came out today. Penticton, Nanaimo's next opponent, only opponent this week, second in the country, and Nanaimo 18th in the nation. Only game of the weekend. It should be exciting. In just a few moments, I'm going to tell you how you can win tickets to that game from us. Joe has a trivia question for you, and she's thought of a really good one here today. Coming up on the show, Mike Vandekamp, the head coach and general manager of the Clippers. Also, it's going to be Matt Hoover and Lucas Finner to join us. And this is going to be Joe's favorite game of the season. We're going to play a game with Matt Hoover and Lucas Finner. The game is called Dan, You're Full of Crap.
I thought you were going to say Magic Mike. Something to do with that.
No. Dan, You're Full of Crap.
I like it.
Is the name of the game that we're playing today. More details on that to come. But, Joe, we want to give you tickets.
Yes, and you can do so by visiting our Facebook page, answering this trivia. Sheldon Rempel now has 103 points this season. That ties him where on the Clippers' all-time scoring list? Is it 10th, 20th, or 30th?
Something to think about and ponder there. Let's bring in the head coach and general manager of the Clippers, Mike Vandekamp. And coach, the busiest month of your season by far, January. It was 13 games and you could say 30 days because you started on January 2nd. Mentally and physically, how much do you need the break right now?
Well, I think it's come at a good time. You just can't keep going at that pace forever. I think both mentally and physically this week was kind of hard on us. You know, Friday night, I don't think we were as mentally sharp as we needed to be. And although Sunday we bounced back nicely. And then physically we're seeing some injuries creep into the team here now too. But that was expected to happen. So, you play that much hockey, sometimes that fatigue sets in and the injuries come. And so I think the break is coming at a decent time. I'd still like to have maybe 2 more games this month, to be honest. We only have 7. It'd be nice to maybe have 9, but at any rate, we'll have to deal with it as best we can.
Between now and the 19th of February, you only have 3 games. And as you said, you'd like to have more, but how do you turn that into a positive?
Well, get some extra rest and heal up. Good practices. Get back into the gym a little bit more regularly. We didn't see our strength coach a lot in the month of January, so I think getting back in there will be good. And I think being able to spend some time on video and practice will be good for the team. And we won't be stale. I'm sure of that. We still have the 2 games every weekend coming up there down the stretch, and I think it'll be a positive thing for us as long as we practice hard, train hard, and stay focused.
Your penalty kill had another perfect game again yesterday. The 5-on-3 kill in the third period, you didn't give up a shot on goal that I can recall. Why is the penalty kill improved? What's the number one reason, or is it just a lot of factors that penalty kill has been so good lately?
I think confidence has been a big one. Again, I'll throw in the old joke again, the most practice in the league on it, so we had to get good at it sooner or later. But I think it's been, because we've been out there a lot on the kill, we've figured it out, and the practices, or the confidence story has set in, and it seems like it's been going really good lately, obviously. Evan's a big part of that. He's played a lot more consistently in goal, I think, since Christmas break, so that's helped. And overall, the guys have settled into their roles a little bit better. The guys that make up the group that's on the penalty kill regularly seem to understand what's going to be asked of them going into each and every game, and they're doing a good job.
I talked to Blake Clement on the postgame show yesterday, and we talked about those games where you play at that high emotional level. And we talked about it this way, that when your team just plays between the whistles and there's very few scrums, I think you're your most consistent. But when the games get emotional, like we saw on Friday, for example, your team can either be great or poor. But it seems like you're at your most consistent when you stay out of that kind of stuff.
I would agree. I mean, I think we've played well in some of the emotional games as well. But overall, I think our style of play seems to lean more towards just being a really focused team, playing our own game and not getting too caught up in the extracurriculars and shenanigans. And it's funny because our reputation seems to be completely different than that. And it's our penalty minutes lead the league. I was reading the game I don't know why I did this either, because I never read the game notes ever at a game. I don't know why I did. I think it was because Clemmy read them and then said something to me. Actually, it was our goalie. It was Evan who was reading them, and he says so he made a comment about something that was said in the game notes yesterday, and it was that the term was used often undisciplined. Nanaimo Clippers was used in the game notes, and I thought, I don't know where that comes from, because that's not really at all the team that we want to be or are. It doesn't suit our style. It's really not the team that we are. I think we're a team that plays better when we're focused on just playing well defensively and playing our system and being, structured, managing the puck smartly, and doing all the things we want to do.
The only time that I would say that might have fit is those 3 games, December 30th, January 2nd, and January 3rd. But I think that was certainly far from the normal stretch of games where you had those 30 penalties in 3 games. But other than that, I think you probably are pretty happy with where your discipline's been for the most part.
Absolutely. I thought on Friday we weren't undisciplined so much. Like, discipline's a word that gets used a lot, obviously, in hockey, and a lot of people think the word discipline means, only taking penalties or not taking penalties, and that's the furthest thing from the truth. Discipline is much, much bigger than that. Sometimes penalties are taken in the game of hockey through playing physically, and the officiating can be a little bit different every night, and the game's called differently than it used to be, and all those types of things. And that's a factor. I mean, you want to stay out of the penalty box when it comes to taking penalties after the whistle or getting caught up in those types of shenanigans. And I mean, but discipline goes way further than that. When I look at our team on Friday, I thought we were undisciplined in the sense that we didn't stick with our game plan very well. We made some mental errors at key moments in the game, and that's discipline too. That's part of the players being disciplined with the program and the structure and the approach that we want to play with, and you have to be focused to be able to play that way. And so it's a bigger picture when you look at discipline, and mental focus can sometimes get taken away from players for all sorts of different reasons. You face certain types of adversity during a game, and you're not. It takes you off your game a little bit, whether it's penalties, whether it's actions of the other team, score on the board, winning, losing on the scoreboard can affect the guy's focus sometimes. And I find when we're totally dialed in and we're just playing our own game, which the best example of that was the third period in yesterday's game, that's when we're at our best. Because the third period yesterday, and it had some emotion in it too, but we were focused and we stuck with our plan for the whole 20 minutes, and I thought it was the best period of the weekend.
Penticton is the number 1 team in the BC Hockey League, second best team in the country, and you have a playoff history with that team now, obviously. But even for the guys that weren't here and part of that playoff, is this one of those games, and there's a few in a season, where you really try and measure where you're at when you see a team come in that's had so few losses like Penticton has?
Well, it's a bigger game, I guess, for sure. You can't hide from that. We played them 9 times in the playoffs last year. What would it have been? They would have won 5 of them, or I can't remember. Anyways, obviously they won the one that mattered, but they were always tight games, and obviously we built quite a rivalry with them and playing them in the final and all that. So it was it's something where that carries over from year to year. Both the teams find themselves near the top. Obviously, again, they're at the very top. They're having a heck of a good season again, so it'll be a fun game for the fans. I think they play a style of hockey that I enjoy playing in those games. I find them to be, we have to be very structured, and we have to stick to our system, and we have to play hard every single shift, and we have to play with confidence and believe in ourselves and go out there and dictate the play. And they're a patient club that plays a strong system themselves, and it makes for a really good hockey game. So I'm really looking forward to the game, and I think it's a great game for the fans to come out and watch. Obviously, they only come to town once in the regular season, and it's a little bit of a rematch from last year's playoffs, so it'll be fun to watch.
Did you just tell the guys to go out and empty the tank? It's weird. Only 1 game this coming week. So, I mean, might you focus on Penticton specifically a little more than you would in a week where you have, say, 3 games? Might you scheme your practices a bit specifically towards what Penticton's going to bring at you?
Not really. And the reason why is I think lately we've kind of gotten more away from that. I think we've been really focused on trying to just focus on our own game. And so I don't think we spend days, trying to scheme around all the little things that they do in the game. I think we need still to work on our own game and trust that when we play our own game, really stick with it, that we can have success against anybody. So that's the type of team that we're trying to be lately. And it doesn't mean that we don't discuss a few little things that they might do, such as, some tendencies on special teams and small things like that or whatever. But I think this week will be about us working on our own game, just going through all of this, a very similar routine that we've been going through all year, really, with our preparation. I mean, there's a set of reps and stuff that we're going to do this week. We're going to work on our D-zone play. We're going to work on our transition game. We're going to work on some special teams a little bit and just try to touch on all aspects of the game. Work real hard out there. We actually had a little bit of a lighter day today, and so we're going to have 3 really good days, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, to work our tails off and just be ready for the hockey game.
You've got some guys that couldn't play in yesterday's game. You've got some guys that I know aren't 100%. Might it be until Thursday or even Friday morning before you know for sure if you're going to be able to have a full roster for Friday?
No, I would say we should have a shot at that. Right now, I would bet on it. But I suppose there's a couple of guys that'll have to make some strides this week that we believe they will make. So I'm betting on us being healthy, and that's if nothing happens in practice this week, which it can, because we're going to go out and battle hard out there, and you never know what happens there. But overall, we'll probably be a little shorthanded in the first part of this week in practice, but by the end, we'll pull it all together and hopefully have all hands on deck by the weekend.
The VCHL doesn't do the All-Star game anymore, but the NHL does, and I know you were watching some of it yesterday. What were your thoughts on what the NHL did with its format and the John Scott story? Because a lot of people were talking about the All-Star game today, and I don't know if I've heard that kind of chatter after an NHL All-Star game for years.
Well, the new format was obviously a caused a lot of chatter. I thought it was great. I didn't get to watch it all. Obviously, we had our own game, but I did pick it up at the restaurant thereafter, and I got to watch that final game, or the better part of it. And it was interesting how hard the guys played in that last game. I imagine there was a little bit of fooling around in the first couple games, maybe, and the scores kind of looked that way. But in that last game, they were playing hard. I mean, when you put a little money on the line, that makes a big difference too. I mean, that's a lot of money. For all the guys, and it was $1 million they're playing for. So you saw a little extra effort there, and they were playing with some spirit, having a lot of fun. I think the format is actually really good because, for the fans, I think a 5-on-5 game played like shinny can be awful, whereas maybe 3-on-3 is shinny anyway, so it kind of suits it. And it was the best All-Star game, because I wouldn't even watch the All-Star game the last few years because it was really not very entertaining. It really wasn't, but this one sure was. And the John Scott thing, I thought it was great. I mean, what a story, really, when you think about it. If you read his what he wrote into the Players Tribune there, and that letter that he wrote was really interesting. The amount of pressure that was put on him to consider not showing up. And I don't know. If they're going to have a voting system that allows for that to happen, then they're opening the door for exactly that happening. And the way that it went down with him being able to, find himself being voted in as the captain, and then all the pressure that he had to go through, to decide to stick to his guns and go and enjoy it, was part of it. But then just the way that the players rallied around him yesterday was really fun to watch. They had rallied around him, and his family, and the fans seemed to do the same. So it was a fun story, and you know what? It'll be the highlight of that guy's hockey career, I think, without question. And he handled it well, and I think he made a really strong name for himself just as a real class act. So it was good for him.
Coach, appreciate the time as always, and we'll chat again before Friday's game against the Vs.
Thanks a lot, Dan.
That is the head coach and general manager of the Clippers, Mike Vandekamp, here on Off the Ice. When we come back, we'll have Lucas Finner and Matt Hoover, and a game called Dan, You're Full of Crap. We're back on Off the Ice, the Clippers hockey show. Lucas Finner and Matt Hoover to join us in this segment. We're going to talk some Clippers hockey, talk about the weekend that was, the month that was, and then we're going to play a game called Dan, You're Full of Crap. A prize is on the line as well for this game. Let's start with Lucas Finner. Lucas, month of January. Man, that was a lot of hockey. 13 games in 30 days. But I thought for you personally, maybe you had your best couple of games near the end of the month. It looked like you were really kind of going this past weekend. How did you feel about this month?
Thanks, Dan. This month, I think it went by pretty quick, and, I've just been working hard in practice, and glad to see it started turning up in the games, too.
You're starting to get chemistry, I think, with Matt Kramer and Troy McTavish. Talk about your line and some of the things that you guys are doing right now.
We're just doing the simple things right, just getting pucks deep, trying to get shots on net and traffic in front, just trying to grind away.
Over the course of 51 games, how far do you think your game has gone when you look at yourself in the mirror and when the coaches are talking to you about your game?
I think I've started playing a more complete game in all three zones. I'm starting to get a lot of more puck possession as well, so it's been pretty good.
You looked this weekend, and it might have just been that this weekend was one of those weekends for you, but you looked a little stronger and a little faster to me, and I don't think that happens all in one weekend. But you've been doing, I know, a lot off the ice. Are you starting to feel that some of those things that you do, I know you guys train a ton, as much or more than any other team, is it starting to kind of pay off for you?
Yeah, we work out a lot with Clayton Smith, and I think it's been really beneficial to my strength and size, and I do feel a little bit stronger, and it's a big thanks to Clayton Smith.
You have a chance to probably play Victoria or Alberni Valley in the first round. You just saw both of those teams this week. And I'm not going to get you to say, I'd like to play this team versus that team. But what are some of the differences between those two teams? Maybe give me a sense of how you think Victoria looks, some of the things they do well, and the way that Alberni plays and some of the things that they do well.
I think both teams are pretty fast hockey teams, but I think Victoria plays a more wide open style of game. Alberni, they forecheck strong. They got a lot of fast skaters on that team and some skill too to put the puck in the net. So both teams would be a challenge.
One game this weekend against Penticton, and it's one of those 1 versus 2 matchups overall in the BC Hockey League. And as you know, coming in this summer, there's a history between these two hockey clubs. How excited are you for this weekend?
Yeah, this weekend's definitely pretty exciting. Two of the biggest contenders in the league just going at it, and it's time to prove ourselves here. So we'll see how it goes.
Let's bring in Matt Hoover now. Matt's great week for you this week again. You've been really going runner-up for BCHL Player of the Week last week. A legitimate shot at 40 goals. Are you a numbers guy? And would that be a milestone that would really mean something to you? You're sitting on 36 right now.
Yeah, obviously that would be pretty cool. I mean, you don't want to look at that too much and let that get to your head. But obviously hitting one of those numbers like 30 a couple weeks ago was pretty cool, and if I could jump up to 40 and before the end of the season, that would obviously be something really special to me for sure.
I think on Friday against Victoria, guys got off the map a little bit, and you're one of the guys that can really talk to about this because you play on a line with Sheldon Rempel, and I don't know that you guys were focused on the 100th point, but it looked like that may have been a distraction the way that whole period unfolded where Sheldon gets the 100th point early, and it looked like that might have been something that maybe was in the back of guys' minds because mentally you didn't look nearly as sharp as you did yesterday afternoon, for example, and on Wednesday.
Yeah, it was. We were pushing for Sheldon there. Obviously, you want to create something special like that and be a part of it. But we were obviously still focused on the game and trying to get the win there. I mean, we did get a little sidetracked and we made a few bad mistakes and we weren't playing as well as we should have. And at the end of the day, we didn't come out with the win there. But like you said. We were able to regroup on Sunday, and that's huge for our team being able to have a game like that and be able to regroup.
Guys around the league, especially with your line, are going to give extra shots. You're going to take some cheap shots. You're going to take a lot of trash talk. How difficult is it to pick your spots and to choose how to react versus just instinctively reacting when that happens?
Yeah, it's hard to stay composed. I mean, we've been not yelled at, but we've been told we need to keep our composure and lay off of other teams and lines and refs and whatnot. So it is difficult, especially being having a different role last year in my game. I was one of those agitator guys and fourth line guys who would go out and do that kind of stuff. So playing with Sheldon and Devin there, I still have a little bit in there, but try and push it away as much as I can, but it seems to come out a lot for us still.
It's a whole different game for you. You just talked about being an agitator guy last year versus being a number one center that plays in all situations. That's a pretty big adjustment in a short time.
Yeah, it was. Junior hockey, coming out of high school, it was a big jump, and that's what I think I needed to get used to, and it was good for me to play that role and get used to the more fast-paced, physical hockey before going to college. So it is, even though you want to be on that top line or those top two lines and score all the time, it's good to be in different situations and develop your game before you go on to the next process.
When Mike breaks up your line, and it doesn't happen very often, but when he puts you, Sheldon, and Devin on all three different lines or on two different lines, I almost feel like he doesn't have to say anything to you guys. It's kind of a message to the team. All right, guys, we need this one, and we need a regroup game. He did that again yesterday, and it seems like every time it happens, you guys respond really well.
Yeah, obviously we love playing with Sheldon there, but when it does happen there, me and Dev, whoever we do play with, we just try and focus on doing whatever we can. Obviously, when Sheldon is on our line, he's obviously, if not the top player in the league. So we try and stick up from there, and that's what maybe gets us a little off our game. We try and protect him too much, and he can protect himself, as he showed last game there. But it's good when if he splits us up, we can produce as well as the other three lines too.
Officially, Sheldon got a Gordie Howe hat trick taken away yesterday. Did he get chirped about that?
No. We were rooting for him for that Gordie Howe. I didn't know it got taken away. But,
they ended up giving him a double minor for roughing.
Oh yeah. Well, we classify that as a fight. We were giving it to him a little bit because obviously you don't see that too much out of him. You see the goals and the assists, but you don't see the fights. And no, he got the fist last game, so it was funny.
Penticton, number one team in the BCHL, and the game in Penticton was fantastic. It didn't end the right way, I know, but that was a fantastic hockey game. There's a big history there. How much are you looking forward to Friday?
Oh, I'm really looking forward to that game. Was special, even though it was my first time playing them. Obviously, knowing the history from last year, going to the finals there with them. That game was just a physical, fast-paced, skilled game there, just everything. And obviously, like you said, unfortunately, we couldn't pull it out there in the overtime, but we're looking for a regroup here, and hopefully we can pull it out.
We're going to play a game now called Dan, You're Full of Crap. These guys each have a bell in front of them. I'm going to say a question, and you're either going to chime in, and first got to chime in gets to answer, no steals. Either you're going to say true if you agree, or if you think it's not true, your answer must be, Dan, you're full of crap. Here we go. Lucas Finner versus Matt Hoover. Best of 7 series in Dan, you're full of crap. Here we go with question 1. The Clippers' record for wins in a season is 45. Matt Hoover.
True.
That's crap. 04-05, the Clippers actually had 48 wins. Best ever in the Nanaimo Clippers season. I told you there'd be an element of truth in each one, so I made it close so it would be believable. But it's still 0-0. You don't lose a point, Matt.
All right, that's good.
So it's good to guess, even if you're not totally sure.
That sound like the SATA Finner?
No.
If Matt Hoover gets to 40 goals, no Clipper other than Sheldon Rempel has had 40 goals in 10 seasons. Lucas Finner.
Dan, you're full of crap.
No, it's true. The last guy to get 40 was Blair Riley back in the 05-06 season. It's still 0-0. You guys are still tied.
I just wanted to say that.
He just wanted to make me feel better.
Lucas, you should probably get this one. Todd Finner.
Ooh.
That's Daddy O.
Yep.
Tied for 10th all-time in Clipper scoring with 110 points. Lucas Finner.
True.
No, it's false.
Oh.
He did get 110 points.
Yeah.
But that's tied for 21st all-time on the list, not 10th.
All right, Dan.
Top player ever, John Newberry, 184 points. Just a little bit of truth, but overall, I was full of crap yet again.
We gotta be using our noggins.
The Clippers' top line, it's still 0-0. The Clippers' top line of Hoover, Brasso, and Rempel has more goals than 4 other teams in the BCHL. Lucas Finner.
True.
No, I'm full of crap again. There are two teams, only Prince George and Surrey, that have fewer goals than the 112 by the trio of Brasso, Rempel, and Hoover. So far, we're not off to a great start with this game. 0-0. It might only take one correct answer to win it, though. Yeah. The next one is this. The Nanaimo Clippers get the fewest power plays in the league. Matt Hoover.
Dan, you're full of crap.
I am full of crap. In fact, you get the most power plays in the league.
The easiest question.
I'm quicker.
1-0 for Matt Hoover in the game called Dan, You're Full of Crap. You have 271 power plays this year.
It's a couple of power plays. Eh?
Yeah.
And 235 is the next highest total. But bear in mind, you're also the most penalized team in the league, too.
Yeah, I think I looked it up the other day. I think we have 928 penalty minutes or something like that.
You're going to be the first team over 1,000.
It's a couple penalty minutes.
Let's try not to make it happen Friday all in one game against Penticton.
Hopefully not.
Before the end of the year, we might see it. Since 2002, NHL All-Star John Scott has scored 18 goals. Oh, Joe, did you see who got that first? What did you think?
That was definitely Lucas Finner.
Lucas Finner's first.
Dan, you're full of crap.
It's true.
Oh my
Since
goodness.
2002, John Scott has 18 goals. Best ever season was 3. That goes through 4 years of college at Michigan Tech. Played for Houston in the AHL. His NHL, only 18 goals since 2002 for John Scott. Matt Hoover has the only question right. Lucas, you need this one. This is a long question.
All right.
It's a long question, so listen to this whole thing before you chime in here. Joe, you have to watch these guys because I have to read this very carefully to see who chimes in first, okay?
I'm watching.
If Lucas Finner left Nanaimo for his NCAA school at Ferris State, and Matt Hoover left Nanaimo for his NCAA school at Canisius College at the same time, Matt Hoover would get to school first. Lucas Finner.
True.
No.
Oh my goodness.
I'm full of crap again. To reach Ferris State, Lucas, you're going to travel 3,991 kilometers. To reach Canisius, Matt's going to have to go 4,476 kilometers, so you would get to school first.
I thought, never mind.
It's all right.
Congratulations to Matt. You win a James Bond prize pack.
Oh, look at that.
The movie Skyfall.
It's a great flick.
Yeah.
I have to bring this on the bus. Actually, we don't have any more road trips, so.
Yes, you do. Believe me, there's a lot of road trips to come.
Yep.
And that one might even be Clemmy and Vandy approved.
Yeah?
Because they don't...
They don't approve a lot.
They don't approve a lot. Actually, you have to try and get by the biggest movie screener, Rhett White.
Yeah.
He's really the big movie screener, your trainer. But congratulations for winning. Dan, you're full of crap.
Thank you.
And a copy of Skyfall, James Bond. And we tried. We did everything we could to give you a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Nanaimo Clipper home game. And we had no correct answers on our Facebook page. So the first person to go on our Facebook page and type the number 30, Sheldon Rempel, is tied for 30th in all-time Clipper scoring history. First person to Facebook the number 30 to Joe on the Wolf Facebook page, or to call Joe and say 30 at 760-1069. You get a pair of tickets to a upcoming Nanaimo Clipper home game. 30, Sheldon Rempel, 30th on the all-time list. On behalf of Joe, this is Dan. So long from Off the Ice.
You've been listening to Off the Ice, the Clippers Hockey Show. Join us again next Monday night at 7 on Nanaimo's Rock. 106.9 The Wolf.